And finally, the senior years. I've covered the years when they are kids and young children growing up in school, and then the working years, what happens at work, and when you want to own a home. But the senior years are increasingly important. We are lucky that we are one of the countries with the longest longevity in the world. It's a combination of standard of living and medical advances. But we've got to make sure it's not just long lives, but long and satisfying lives. Satisfying lives. And we have been doing more, and we're going to do more. There are many elements to it. I won't go through the details. I should mention that the CPF system is still a critical pillar of the system. Not a perfect system, but it has the strengths that we've observed in a range of other systems without the large weaknesses. It's sustainable, unlike many of the systems in the advanced countries. It's not putting an inordinate burden on the next generation. It doesn't involve large risk for the individual, the ordinary individual who can't take large financial risk. And it provides for progressivity, which is not often recognized. The CPF is not just an individual saving scheme. It is a scheme that involves government contribution to the low-income group through the budget. We've built progressivity into our CPF system. 3.5% interest rate on the ordinary account for most individuals, and especially our low-income individuals, but it's not just that 3.5% guaranteed interest rate. It's also the regular infusions of workfare and the housing grant. So if you take the extra interest, the housing grants, which have increased, into your OA and workfare, that amounts to another 3% per annum throughout their working lives if it's calculated. So it's a total of 6.5% return on your ordinary account. And I'm not counting the appreciation and the value of the house that came about because you can use your OA to purchase a housing asset. So by the time, if you take our latest policies, as a result of what we've done over the last 10 years, by the time a young person today who's in the lowest income bracket, say the 10th percentile in the income ladder, by the time he or she reaches retirement or reaches 65, they would have got about $200,000 from the government, or about 40% of their total CPF savings. It's a progressive system and a sustainable system. We've paid an increased emphasis on healthcare costs. For the pioneer generation, we've had a special package for them because of what they went through and what they contributed. But it's not just the pioneers. We've put in place permanent schemes now that increase healthcare subsidies for the lower and middle income group, and that also involve sharing of risk collectively through MediShield Life. And that remains a very important focus for us going forward. Not just making sure that we have adequate subsidy for the lower and middle income group, but making sure that we keep control on healthcare costs, which all over the world is a big challenge. Medical science is not just advancing, it's also advancing through more and more expensive treatments. And we've got to make sure in the Singapore system that we have a way of controlling overall costs, whilst at the same time delivering quality care in the most humane possible way. And finally, in the senior years, silver support, a new pillar which we introduced in this year's budget, which will be coming into place early next year. Silver support is the equivalent of workfare in the working years. In the working years, we temper inequality through workfare. And when people are retired and in their silver years, we've got to continue to temper inequalities by providing the bottom 30% of the population with automatic support every 3 months. Automatic support. This is a major strengthening of our social security system. When you add it all up, what you are doing in the youthful years, what we're doing in the working years, and what we're doing in the silver years. The changes that we've put into place in the last 10 years amount to a significant increase in support for the lower income group.